What's up, you guys? SlimXTeamSymmetry here to bring you guys a new episode of Slim Psychology today. And I'm here to not talk about the dragon rulers. Don't worry, I'm not here to give you guys some boring dragon deck profile. I'm not here to tell you guys that the dragons are OP, that they're ridiculous, they're one of the craziest and best decks to ever come to the game, that they're retarded with return from a different dimension. None of that crap. I'm here to actually talk to you guys about the best strategies to beating dragon rulers and why, as good as they are quite susceptible to a lot of cards that I feel a lot of players are using in this format. And this was a subscriber requested video. A lot of players messaged me not only on YouTube but on Facebook asking me how I felt the best way to counter dragon rulers is. And this was interesting because, unfortunately, I was one of the people that decided to play dragon rulers. A lot of players did do this. You can't deny it. If you deny it, you're lying. We all wanted the chance to see how powerful the dragons were, especially last format. And we did. And even this format, I once again picked up the dragon rulers in the forms of the Blue Eyes dragon ruler deck. So I'm quite familiar with how the dragons work. It's pretty simple. Honestly, it won't take you that long to figure out the deck. But countering these 4 dragons is not as impossible as people make it out to be. Granted, Return from a Different Dimension is a very problematic card that I really hope they ban next format. Not only for the fact that it's ridiculous to bring back up to 5 monsters, but for the fact that it's almost an auto-win card in this deck. For the fact that bad players can banish foolishly. They can banish multiple blasters to bring up a title or a Tempest, and they can just return all 3 blasters. What the hell kind of, philosophy is that for Yu-Gi-Oh? So anyways, I'm going to put these guys away. I'm going to talk about the reason why we're here for this video today. We're here to talk about the best ways to counteract these dragon rulers. And I'm going to talk about several cards that I have at my disposal. I'm going to start with one I actually don't have. I lent out my Debunks to a couple of my friends to use in their side decks. I myself am not siding Debunk, but it's definitely an option I would suggest to you guys. Debunk's really good. The best thing that I can say about this card is that it turns off colors. As you guys know, with the 4 colors, water, wind, earth, and fire, you need to be able to turn off the main ones. Blaster is a real problem, honestly. Blaster is the biggest problem in the deck. I feel Blaster and Tempest are the best cards in the deck for the fact that you're able to search at will, you're able to destroy a card at will. Granted, Redox is amazing with its Reborn effect. Title's underlooked, but I think a lot of players forget that Title can just set up that last element, so ignoring any of them is foolish, in my opinion. I feel that Debunk's really good at not only turning off the color but removing it, and they're not able to search since they activated the effect. So I feel that that's really good. That's one card you guys should definitely take into account. Some of the other cards I want to talk about, I'm going to go into Soul Drain first. So Soul Drain is a card that has unfortunately gone to 1. It was one of the best outs to decks like Mermail and Dark World. Unfortunately, Soul Drain is now at 1. Now, when I ran Black Wings at the Reno Regionals, I played against 5 dragons. I was able to successfully beat 2 of them. I lost to 3 of them. It sucked. Soul Drain was amazing, though. It does a lot of things. It is able to turn off the colors. They're not able to activate their effects when they banish the dragons. It's also really good if you start with it and they have 7-star sword in their hand. They're not able to trigger the colors. Granted, they are able to draw, but they're not able to trigger the colors. And granted, okay, they're going to draw 2 cards. Unfortunately, you can't stop that, but you are able to stop their ability to search colors, and that's really important. While it's not one of the best cards, it's definitely an optional card for decks that don't rely heavily on banishing. So I would definitely suggest it in any side deck. It's a card I side deck myself, just so in case people were wondering. The next card is going to be Gozen Match. So Gozen Match is something I do not side. Not in the current deck I'm running. I'm running Evilsworn right now. It could be an option I could see myself using. I feel that it's not that bad. It's actually really good. The main thing is that there's 4 different attributes. The 4 different attributes, the 4 elemental dragons. Gozen Match locks them out of summoning multiple ones, which means they cannot get to Dragosack, they cannot get to Big Eye, they cannot get to Ancient Fairy Dragon, they cannot get to a lot of cards. So I feel Gozen is definitely a good solid choice for decks like Constellars, decks like Evilsworn, decks that rely on all of 1 attribute. So I feel this is just a really good card in general, and people should definitely try it out if you're running a deck that can support Gozen Match. The next card is going to be Maxx. So Maxx is probably one of the cards that has seen the most inflation and deflation in terms of playability this format. Maxx, when it came out, was one of those cards that people kind of ignore. When it first came out, think back to when when Maxx was first released. A lot of people ignored it. It came out, I believe, in Storm of Ragnarok. I could be wrong. A lot of people ignored it for the fact that during the format, Maxx was good, but it just wasn't, it wasn't on the radar. As the formats changed, windups got good, Rabbit got good, a lot of decks got good. Maxx became a staple at 2, if not 3. Even this format now is becoming a staple in a lot of decks. And at the same time, it's not becoming a staple in the decks at all. Now, the reason being is that Maxx is good. Maxx is good in decks like Evilsworn. It's good in decks that are not dragons. For the fact that, okay, you may be able to 1-for-1 with them against their elemental dragons. If they read a Maxx, if they see you drop a Maxx, the main thing I've seen Dragon Ruler players do is they're going to start by summoning Redux or summoning Blaster for the fact that if you drop a Maxx and you draw a card, you basically 1-for-1 against them. They don't want you to get an advantage over them, so they may stop at Blaster or Redux for the fact that they have a 3,000 defense wall or they have a 2,800 attack beat stick. At that point, if you're running a deck that can't really draw into anything, Maxx is kind of irrelevant. Maxx did not really benefit you. Granted, alright, you turned the Maxx into possibly an active card, but honestly, in a 40-card deck, by the time you draw Maxx and you draw into cards in this 30-something card deck, it may not be the most optimal play. That's the reason why Maxx has really gone down in playability. A lot of players are not even main decking it. I personally am still main decking it for the fact that since I'm running Evilsworn, I feel that Maxx is just being able to trade off 1-for-1 and then getting them to stop and then being able to go into Ophion is really good. But that's only because I'm running a deck that can actually combat against dragons game 1 quite effortlessly. So I feel that Maxx, for me, is a good choice, but for a lot of players may not be the most optimal choice. It'll be either in your main deck or side deck. But I think it does deserve some recognition for the fact that it is a good card, and it's good against other decks across the spectrum of Yu-Gi-Oh! We can't only focus on dragons, even though that is the point of today's video, but Maxx is still a solid choice. It may not be a main deck option, but as a side deck option, it's not terrible, so definitely deserved to be talked about. Now we're going to get into the real nitty-gritty about the cards that are really good. These last 2 cards are the ones I really wanted to focus on in this video. The first one is Vanity's Emptiness. Now, everyone's going to say that card is Jesus. That card is one of the best cards to ever come out in Yu-Gi-Oh! That is the card that everyone should be using. Yes and no. Vanity's Emptiness got to be almost a $20 common. Not even kidding you guys. I saw this card go for $15. I've seen people cash out for this card. It's kind of stupid. I feel Vanity's Emptiness is really good. I feel that it's able to lock down dragon players if played properly. This card, as good as it is very susceptible to cards like Mystical Space Typhoon. The fact that you are able to Typhoon another card in response to Vanity's Emptiness can be a real problem. Today, just as an example, I was playing against, believe it or not, the Evilsworn mirror match. Now, he chose to main Vanity's Emptiness. I go Summon Caster. It allows me additional normal summon. I summon Thunderbird. He decides to activate Vanity's Emptiness. I respond with Mystical Space Typhoon on his face-down card, which turned out to be a, I believe it was a Solemn Warning. I don't remember what the card was exactly. But right there, it took care of Vanity's Emptiness. And I literally wasted no resources. I lost no resources. I still had my Caster. I still had my Thunderbird. And I went into Ophion. Oh, I don't even remember if I went into Ophion. I don't remember what I did exactly. But the point, in fact, was that Vanity's Emptiness was shut off. It was gone, and it was no longer a threat. Now, Vanity's Emptiness is still one of the best trap cards in the game, easily, for the fact that it is a mini Royal Oppression. The ability to stop your opponent from special summoning is huge, especially in the Dragon Mirror match. A lot of Dragon players, good Dragon players, will make cards like Stardust Dragon turn 1 and have it backed up with a Vanity's Emptiness. The ability to have a Vanity's Emptiness backed up with a Stardust is huge. The reason being is that a lot of people are going to try to get rid of Vanity's Emptiness through Mystical Space Typhoon, through Raigeki Break, through other forms of destruction. Now, while that may be optimal, with the Stardust on the board, it's simply going to negate and come back. So it's really not that big a deal. Being able to get off Vanity's Emptiness is huge in the mirror match. But at the same time, it's not the best card. It's definitely not what I would say is the best card that you can use against Dragon Rulers. It's very good. It's definitely side deck worthy. I do side deck the card myself. I side deck 2 copies. I took it out of the main deck. I noticed that there are just too many answers to the card right now. I feel that everyone is prepared for Vanity's Emptiness, unlike they were last format. and that now Vanity's Emptiness, as good as it is a card that can easily be stopped. So while it is one of the best options, I feel that there are better options. And the next card I'm going to talk about is definitely probably the best option, in my personal opinion, against Dragon Rulers through all the testing and all the decks I've used to try to combat Dragon Rulers. While I was a Dragon Ruler player myself, I will not deny that fact. Vanity's Emptiness in the main deck was amazing. Being able to stop my opponent from special summoning was amazing. Being able to have my dragons on the field was amazing. The difference is that we're in a format now where Super Rejuvenation, derp, draw into a million, draw into more Rejuvenations, have Dragossack on the board is not always going to happen. Granted, it's not hard to do, but sometimes you just don't have it. So Vanity's Emptiness, as good as it is, may not be an awesome main deck option. Patrick Hoban, a lot of other really good players in this game, talked about how Vanity's Emptiness was just not an ideal main deck option. There were too many outs to it, and it honestly did not answer a field that was already established. So I feel that that is one of the reasons why Vanity's Emptiness may not be one of the best options, but it's definitely in the top options for being able to stop Dragon Rulers, for the fact that it is a royal oppression. I don't care what anyone says. This is possibly a single turn royal oppression. Honestly, one turn is all you need to buy that time that you would have lost had they swarmed the field and then fight back. So I feel this is a very good card regardless. And the final card I want to talk about is Imperial Iron Wall. Now, I'm sure I've missed a million cards. I'm sure I've missed a lot of cards you guys would want to talk about. You guys want to talk about Kaiku. You guys want to talk about other monster options, Thunder King Ryo, other cards like that. I'm going to save those cards for another video. I'm going to do a new installment in this series where I'm going to talk about combating several decks. This first one being Dragon Ruler because it is the most relevant. I'm going to talk about Prophecy. I'm going to talk about Evil Swarm. I'm going to talk about Constellars. You name it, I'm going to talk about it. I feel that these in-depth talks are the best way to really help not only beginner players, but help players like myself get better at the game and better understand why so many players top with really good tech options. And I feel that talking about cards like this is just really important because they really seem to set trends. Imperial Iron Wall is literally, in my opinion as a player, the best option against Dragon Ruler. The reason why I say that is that they rely so heavily on their graveyard. Their graveyard is their second hand, and that is huge. Being able to stop them from banishing anything, being able to stop them from 7-star Sword, getting them to stop anything is huge in that matchup. Being able to Key Beetle lock Imperial Iron Wall is an amazing feeling. Being able to have Ophion, Imperial Iron Wall, Forbidden Dress, Safe Zone, whatever it is a total lockdown against that deck. The deck is not unbeatable, guys. The deck falls many times to a lot of cards that people are running. Sean McCabe won with Constellars. He main deck Imperial Iron Wall. There was a reason. The reason being is that this card shuts down dragons. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if they have Mystical Space Typhoon. If they have Mystical Space Typhoon, congratulations. You had one of 3 copies, if not 2 copies in your deck. Imperial Iron Wall is easily one of the best options against that deck. Not only stopping their in-hand, not only stopping their 7-sword, not only stopping their graveyard, you are stopping everything, and that is huge this format, especially in a format where everyone is trying to run dragons. Not only is it good against dragons, hell, it stops Spellbook of Fate, and let's face it, if you've ever been fated, I've been fated hundreds of times. I've had friends that have been fated hundreds of times. It sucks. Being able to lock down that effect is an amazing feeling. That is why I feel Imperial Iron Wall is one of the best side deck options against the deck. Some people will try to main deck this card. I tried it myself. I was not impressed. The reason being is that I don't want to run this card against decks where it could be irrelevant. If I run against a stun-based deck like Fire Fist or any deck like that where I am susceptible, having Imperial Iron Wall is not that great. Running against Mermail, having Imperial Iron Wall, it's not that great. Side decking it is the best option, and I feel that that is the best advice I can give you guys on this card, but I can easily say this is without a doubt one of the best cards against Dragon Rulers. And these cards I've mentioned, Imperial Iron Wall, Vanity's Emptiness, Maxx, Gozen Match, Soul Drain. All those cards are really good options. These were the cards I wanted to cover because these are the cards I've been testing with the most to combat Dragon Rulers. I'm no longer playing Dragon Rulers, you guys. Those Dragon Rulers you saw are remaining in my binder. I don't have the rest of the deck. I no longer own 7-star Swords. I no longer own Dragossack or Big Eyes. I've gotten rid of all of them. I don't want to play the deck. I've chosen to just go, back to my roots. I'm more of a stun-based player. I choose to play Evil Sworn. I choose to play decks like Constellars, decks like that. Decks that can beat Dragon Rulers. And as much as people want to say Dragon Rulers are unbeatable, I totally disagree. I feel they are very susceptible to a lot of cards. And that if you know how to play with these cards that I've mentioned, as well as other cards, you will do well against the deck. So that's basically all I want to say, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, thumbs it up. Let's beat dragons, you guys. Seriously, like, I'm tired of dragons. Granted, I will always be a dragon ruler player at heart, but honestly, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of bad players playing dragons and thinking they're so great when they flip return. Like, honestly, it's just a sickening feeling for the fact that you did nothing impressive. You don't impress me as a player for the fact that you herp-derped your way to return. I've done it myself. I don't feel good about myself. Okay, cool. I won the match, but did I learn anything in the match? I learned nothing. So that's my whole spiel on how to beat dragon rulers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it was so long, but I really wanted to cover these cards for you guys, and I really wanted you guys to understand that dragon rulers are not unbeatable. You can definitely beat them, and these are some of the best options I could come up with. There will be other options. I'm going to talk about a lot more cards. Next episode, I'm going to do Prophecy as well as other decks. If there's decks you're having trouble with, please comment below, and I will definitely take them into consideration for including on this series. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, thumbs it up. Let me know any other options you'd like me to talk about, whether it be for a tech for thought or for a slim psychology, and I'll definitely bring it here on this series. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's be dragon rulers, you guys. Thumbs up, and thank you for watching.